Now, taking steps to address a future tragedy 3 years after a crash that killed a Vancouver woman.
Apparently, when the car comes through the door, it happens really quick.
Plus, we hear from a neighbor in Canby after police shoot and kill a bear that had made its way onto private property.
It was just hanging out, and then it tried to come down, and there's too many people around.
And an attempt to make the Vancouver waterfront safer.
Cars revving their engines, motorcycles revving their engines, redlining it. It's nuts.
The weekend closures happening through Labor Day. Thanks so much for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. I'm John Adams. Tonight we're hearing from the father of a woman killed after a car crashed into her house. Years later, that home now made safer thanks to some new protections. Our Jake Holter has that story from Vancouver.
The city of Vancouver recently installing 27 of these bollards outside the home to prevent an accident like this from happening again.
Happy that they're finally up. You know, should have been up a long time ago.
When James Lane visited his daughter's memorial Sunday, it looked a little different.
It works. It'll stop a car.
Dozens of bollards now up outside this home that sits on the corner of West Fourth Plains Boulevard and Northwest Fruit Valley Road. This after his daughter, Danielle Abrams, was killed when a car crashed into the Vancouver home in August of 2023.
She came home from work, sat down, tended to their pet. My son got up, handed her the pet when the car came through the window and wound up on top of her, causing her death and killing the dog as well.
The driver was sentenced to more than 8 years in prison after she pled guilty to vehicular homicide by DUI. Lane robbed of more time with his daughter that day.
Danielle was quite a human being. She enjoyed her job and taking care of people.
He comes by a memorial he put up outside the house every few weeks.
Her favorite flowers were sunflowers. Some kind of a memorial. People walk by, they can look at it, read it. You know, I know a lot of family and friends don't want to relive it, but I live it every day because she's not here.
And he hopes these bollards can save lives at this house going forward. Jake Holter, KGW News.
Developing today, police are investigating a deadly shooting that happened early this morning in the Centennial neighborhood. Officers were called just after 3 to the area of Southeast 148th and Stark Street. They found an injured man who later died at the hospital. The suspect or suspects were already gone. Portland police ask any witnesses who have not yet talked to officers to reach out. In the Kenton neighborhood this morning, it took a large response from Portland Fire and Rescue to get a house fire under control. They were called just after 4:30 this morning to a home off North Wabash and Winchell Street. A person outside the home told them he had to jump out the second-story window to escape, but his roommate was inside, all while heavy fire was coming out from the building.
When you have 2 victims, that takes personnel. That took the personnel of all of a truck crew. It took part of the personnel of one of our engine companies to provide assistance. So when you have those rescues that are made, you quickly go through the personnel that are assigned to this fire.
Firefighters were able to pull them out and rush them to a burn center, but they died of their injuries. Investigators are looking into what caused this fire. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and U.S. Marshals have arrested a suspect believed responsible for killing a local man in 2022. After years without answers, that man's family is speaking out tonight. It's been a difficult 4 years for Chrysanthius Lathan and her family.
Nobody deserves what he got. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves to be treated the way that he was treated.
Lathan's cousin Jeremy Gertner was found dead in April 2022 from a gunshot wound. The 44-year-old's body was discovered in the Columbia River Slough. His death was thought to have occurred days or weeks before his body was found. No one was arrested at the time.
We just didn't know if the person could still be on the street. We didn't know if it was a next-door neighbor. We didn't know if there's someone in the mall, someone in the store. It could be anybody.
But on Friday, U.S. Marshals arrested 44-year-old Marco Herrera at a residence in southwest Portland. Herrera has been booked into the Multnomah County Jail for second-degree murder with a firearm in connection to Gertner's death. Lathan says her family doesn't know Herrera.
There was a sigh of relief, but also a moment of sorrow. Like everything came back. Everything seemed to come back.
Not only memories of who Gertner was in life.
Jeremy was funny. Jeremy was inquisitive. Jeremy was one of the smartest people I knew.
But also the tragic circumstances around his death.
There will be no sense of justice until everything is all said and done. And even then, my cousin is not coming back. My cousin's not coming back, regardless.
Herrera will make his first court appearance this week.
We left the kids inside, obviously, and it was just sitting in the tree, just sleeping, and it looked tired, so it was just kind of laying there.
We're hearing from a neighbor in Canby who saw a bear in her neighborhood before police used lethal force to keep it away from a crowd. Canby police say the bear had climbed up a tree on private property, which happened to be near the county fairgrounds and Saturday market. Canby police say no responders had a tranquilizer dart, so they called Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. But police say things escalated because of a crowd that had gathered. They shot the bear when it climbed down from the tree and started to motion towards them.
So I wasn't worried about it. I was worried about people being around, though. I thought it was odd that people were driving their cars over here to park and watch. I didn't think that was smart, unfortunately.
ODFW says the bear was around 1 to 2 years old when they go off and find their own habitat. They add things develop so quickly here they probably would not have been able to respond with a tranquilizer even on a typical work day. New tonight, multiple teams responded to Mount Hood after a climber got trapped beneath a boulder. The Hoodland Fire District first got the call just before 10:20 this morning. The climber was trapped along steep terrain near Timberline Lodge east of Silcox Hut. The rescue took the work of multiple first responders, including a heavy rescue team, which specialized equipment to lift that boulder. After about 2 hours, first responders freed the man, who was then flown to a trauma center. All right, time to talk weather. So far, the long holiday weekend has brought us sunny and pleasant temperatures. We topped out in the upper 70s to the low 80s across the city today. For Memorial Day, it's going to be a whole lot different. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri has more on those changes. Hey, Joe.
Hey there. I saw the Ferris wheel from our live camera there showing a city fair. Yeah, a lot of people were out there the last couple days. It's not going to be that nice tomorrow. I want to show you our Seaside camera from our Visit Seaside camera. We've got a couple people camping out there along the ocean. What a lovely way to wrap up the Sunday night. Temperatures right now in the low 50s, 54 degrees with a mix of clouds and sunshine. By, I'd say, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, yeah, these folks will not be there. It's going to be much colder as this cold front moves on shore. Along with the cold temperatures, we'll also see some showers. Live look now from our Wells Fargo tower camera here in the city. Temperature of 74 degrees. So that ridge of high pressure that has been in place is going to push off the east. As it does, we'll usher in this cold front that's coming down from the Gulf of Alaska. Seeing some increasing clouds throughout tonight and into the early morning hours. But the timing on when the rain arrives keeps on getting pushed back a little bit. You know, this time last night I was saying, hey, we'd be seeing the showers by early part of the morning. Now it's looking to be more potentially between 11 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's that 2-hour window. Regardless, once that front moves on shore, John, we'll be seeing some scattered showers, maybe some pea-sized hail, as well as some thunderstorms. We'll talk more about your detailed forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. In Salem, the fire department is looking into what caused a fire at a warehouse which houses equipment for the Oregon State Fire Marshal. It happened just before 11:20 yesterday morning at a facility the fire marshal's office shares with Shangri-La. Crews saw heavy black smoke coming from the roof. They were able to put out the fire before it damaged much of the building and any of the millions of dollars worth of equipment there. In Vancouver, the fire marshal's office is looking into what started a house fire last night. Firefighters were called just before 8 to the area of West 4th Plain Boulevard and Northwest Daniels. Due to the extent of the fire, it took more than 24 firefighters to get it extinguished. No one was hurt, but the Red Cross is helping the 3 people that were displaced. In Hillsboro, a part of town lost power and a stretch of roadway closed after a car crashed into a power pole early this morning. This was on Northeast Cornell Road near Hillsboro Airport, and it happened around 4 a.m. One picture showing the car laying on its roof. Fortunately, there were no major injuries. Well, it's official. This Memorial Day weekend is the first that was car-free along the Vancouver waterfront. The mayor says the idea is to create a more pedestrian-friendly area along the Parkway Place.
There was a feeling of being unsafe frequently, and sometimes it was early in the morning, sometimes it was in the middle of the afternoon. We would have very unsafe driving and some street racing.
Well, this came about through a number of pilot projects in response to complaints about dangerous drivers. Along the waterfront, the mayor says part of Main Street and West 6th near Esther Short Park will also be blocked off. It'll be every weekend from 4 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. on Monday through Labor Day weekend. We found mixed reaction to this plan today.
Awesome. I mean, it's great. I mean, look at those people hanging out by the winery and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a chill spot. It's great.
Open up the road again. I mean, I feel like it feels kind of empty without the cars driving here. I feel like that's what brings waterfront here. Like past 9 o'clock, everyone comes here. I feel like it's nicer.
The mayor says there may be fewer parking spots downtown with the streets blocked off, but there still should be plenty.